Look, something needs to be
Here's
done
Rev.
about these MMA gloves.
Yeah.
They force your hands to be open. Like, so many fighters have talked about it. By the end of the fight, their forearms are just burning from closing their fists. There are like,
I mean, this was the 11th second.
I know, but like,
I agree.
What I'm saying is the gloves themselves force your hands to be open. That's why we see so much. Like, how many? I think there was 3 fights in the prelims and the main card that got a temporary stoppage. This one, obviously, the whole thing was called off, but the other fights, eye pokes. You can almost guarantee there's going to be a pretty bad eye poke on every card. And I think a big part of it is these gloves. There are MMA gloves out there that are designed to avoid this kind of situation.
Well, yeah, no, 100%. Like Joe Rogan always talks about the Trevor Whitman's gloves. Why can't they come to a deal with the UFC? Trevor Whitman's gloves.
I think that
something needs to
Trevor
happen.
Whitman explained that it was to do with the company that makes the gloves. They don't want to
some contract.
They want to patent the technology or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, but to me, it's like, if you didn't have that, you would be making so much money having a contract with the UFC.
You'd think.
You'd then be the number one MMA glove that any fanboy is going to buy, or anyone getting into MMA is going to buy. So you're only going to make more money.
Yeah.
But they're worried about other companies coming out and maybe copying the technology that they use.
Right.
Oh.
But, yeah, I don't know. I've heard that they did try to contact the UFC, but there was something about the UFC I think the UFC wanted to own them.
Right.
Like they wanted to buy the gloves from them if they were going to use them, you know.
Right, okay.
And they were like, no, we want to own it. We want to patent it. We will let you use them and you can pay us a fee or something. There's just some contractual bullshit.
Right.
But, you know, if you really care about the sport, surely you can just come to an agreement. You know, if this is the best glove, why can't we come to an agreement, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you hear fighters like Justin Gaethje say they wear these gloves all the time and they don't even use hand wraps, which is super impressive. That's, you know, obviously they're offering some great support.
Mm-hmm.
They are against eye pokes, and what's not to love? And that you can still grapple with them perfectly fine. Because that's the big issue with the gloves that curve too much is, you know, it makes it a lot harder to grapple. But yeah, come to an agreement.
Because something has to be done. Like, I can't remember who it was that was saying it, but like, are we going to wait until someone loses an eye? Like,
yeah, and people
already have lost eyes.
People have been real close with eye pokes, you know. And you know, Michael Bisping lost an eye. I mean, that wasn't an eye poke, but I'm sure there's people out there who have lost eyes or at least partially been blinded, you know.
Well, this fight here, the guy couldn't open his eye. His whole eyelid went into a spasm, and
it looks really painful.
Yeah,
it looked horrible.
And it's so funny. Like what's the lady's name that was on the commentary team?
Laura Sanko.
Yeah. So she was saying before the doctor even stopped it, she's like, "Oh, if you get a scratched cornea, like it happens quite a lot, which it shouldn't, and you get a scratched cornea, then your eye goes into spasm, and then the doctor comes in and says the exact same thing, and it's like, how is it that common that a commentator is able, like, sure, like an ex-fighter, but like at the end of the day,
she's great. She's actually really good.
Is able to predict, like doctor stoppage like that.
I know, yeah. It's way far too common in our sport. Like you say, it happened multiple times on the main card, you know, let alone the prelims and the early pre. Like it happens all the time. This one happened in the 11th second of the fight.
And so, it was deep.
Yeah, it was a bad one. This was a real bad one. It's like a part of fighting at the moment. You can kind of get away with it, you know, and it can actually help you. It's like, this should not be the case. But yeah, I wanted to point out actually something. Laura Sanko, she's great. I think she's a really good commentator. She's better than fucking Dominic Cruz. She's better than DC. She's better than Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
She actually knows what she's fucking talking about.
Yeah.
I learn a lot when she's talking. And there's a lot of this stuff about like, oh, it should be like men commentating and, you know, there's all this shit. Well, in other sports. In other sports, I was going to say. And like the UFC is supposedly this right-wing organization, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, they actually give the woman who deserves a job a job.
It's equal opportunity, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's always been a big part of the UFC. Like, yeah, it just comes down to, again, like this whole freedom of speech thing that we were saying recently as well. It's like, you can say what you want. You can essentially, if you have the skills to like back up what you're talking about, then they're going to give you opportunities. So if you've got the skills to sit down at a desk and commentate fights for like 12 hours, because she had the finals of the Asian tournament thing after that as well.
Oh yeah,
what was that called?
I didn't watch that. I didn't even know that was on.
Yeah, so like that's a big day for anyone. Thing. Well, it was like that's
the Battle of Asia.
That's what it was.
Yeah, no,
don't.
It was like the Asian Championship or something.
Well, I wasn't that far off, was I?
No, it just sounded funny. The final of Asia.
Yep.
The final day of Asia.
So yeah, I think the UFC has always been pretty good at giving people opportunities that deserve 100%. To be in those seats.
100%. And like, because in other sports, for example, I'm a big fan of football. Obviously, you probably noticed wearing football shirts all the time. They shoehorn women into positions when they like these women that they put in there don't know what they're talking about. It's obvious that they're reading scripts.
Yeah.
And like they're not. A lot of them aren't even former pros or anything like that. There's some really good women commentators, but you can tell they're trying to like do this 50-50 thing where it's like, oh, we need like a black woman, we need a black guy, we need a Chinese woman, we need a woman, we need a gay woman, we need a man. And it's really annoying because you get terrible biased, just awful scripted commentary.
Yeah.
But with Laura, it's like doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if anyone is a woman or a man, as long as they're good at their job, let them have a job. Laura proved, just like John Anik proved when he was working his way up, just like DC proved, although he's all right. Laura proved that she is one of the best commentators that the UFC can possibly put on the desk for, every fight night. And she's super impressive. I love her commentary.
I agree.
Much better than like fucking Dominic Cruz from the week before.
He gets so caught up in himself, I think.
Yeah, he has these ideas that he just can't let go of.
Yeah, and then him and Bisping, when they get paired up together on the desk, it is a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. Because they're just going at each other.
Yeah, they just bicker.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what you... And the other thing too is like, the only reason I enjoy Bisping's commentary is because he throws like puns in there and stuff, and you can tell he just like gets distracted. Yeah, he's having a laugh. He's having a bit of a joke. But at the end of the day, that's not what he's there to do.
No, he's
got his podcast to do
what
that.
Laura's doing.
Yeah.
And I get it as well. It is quite fun. I like being there and them having a laugh. It kind of brings you in more.
Yeah, it lightens
makes
the mood.
It more real. Yeah, but you need someone there, like we were saying about John Anik. You need a professional who's done the film review beforehand, who knows what they're talking about technically, who's always professional. You need that. Yeah. And Laura has a joke as well. She knows how to keep it balanced.
Yeah,
and she's got the hots for fucking Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Does she?
Yeah, apparently.
I didn't know that.
There's a video of her, and she was talking about him. She was like, "Oh, that guy, he gives me chills." And then everyone was commenting like, "Oh, Laura, don't you have a husband?" And she does. It's like, fuck, imagine me and that guy.
Poor bastard.
But yeah, that was, I think we've some good points there that we've just discussed. Hey guys, thank you very much for watching this short episode of Combat Corner.
If you like what you see, we've got lots of long form content below and lots of other videos like this, so feel free to go along and check it out. We really appreciate all your support. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, share it around. Have a good day.
Peace.